He was undrafted out of Old Dominion. Half the league actually is. In Week 7, the Washington Commanders said, Taylor Heinicke, you bounced around. We're going to give you the starting role. He's played 7 games. He's won 5. He's tied 1. And here's a stat for you. You could win a beer at a bar over this trivia. He's the first starting quarterback in league history to beat a reigning MVP, Aaron Rodgers, and a team 8-0 or better, Eagles, in the same season. He'll be a free agent at the end. I have had my doubts on Taylor Heinicke, but he's winning, and there's his dog Mando with him. So let's start with this. You're the kind of guy, maybe a little small, you don't get the love, you go undrafted. Does that fuel you, all the critics?
It does. I've been hearing it my whole life, actually. I was in high school. I was told I was too small to go to a big school. So I went to ODU. I put some good numbers there. And then same thing with the NFL when I was coming out. They were saying I was too small to make it in this league. And I just kept my nose down, kept on working hard, and here we are. So it's been a crazy ride, but it's been a lot of fun.
You obviously have talent. You don't win 5 games out of 7 in the NFL without talent. If I said to you, okay, Taylor, don't be humble for 1 second. What do you think you're better at that people miss?
I don't know. I don't think it's anything tangible. I think it's, the things that you kind of can't see. I grew up watching Brett Favre, and, the way he played the game, how much love he had for the game, how much passion he had, the amount of fun that he had. I grew up watching that. So, every time I step on that football field, I feel like it might be my last play, my last game. So I go out there and just have fun and leave it all out there. So that's kind of how I go about business, and it works out pretty well for me. Well,
we've said this, especially J-Mac. He said Washington's got real talent. Terry McLaurin may be the most underrated player in the league. When you're a teammate of him, he wasn't a first-round pick. He is just a great playmaker. If I'd never seen Terry McLaurin play, tell me how the chemistry works and your thoughts on him.
Yeah, he's your pro's pro. He carries himself in a very professional way. He comes in. You know how receivers are sometimes. They're a little diva-ish, and he's not that way at all. So when you have a guy like that to be the leader of your receiving corps, the leader of that room, it just trickles down, and everyone kind of gets behind him in that way. So he's one of those guys he's never upset the ball's not coming to him. He just wants an opportunity to make plays, and he continues to do that. So I'm very glad he's on our team.
Ron Rivera, defensive coach. He used to be a Patriot defensive coach. These guys do not like mistakes. They're very conservative. Is there ever a time you go to Ron and say, Ron, lighten up, baby, let me roll it out and make a play?
When we get in those 2-minute situations at the end, that's where, I get my chance. So there's been plenty of those opportunities in the last couple of years. And when we get those 2-minute situations, that's when you kind of see special things happen. And late in the games when we need 3rd-down conversions, again, Terry keeps showing up, whether it's Indy, Green Bay. I can go, through all the games the last 2 years. But, I'm just happy to be here. I'm not going to pressure, Coach Rivera to let me do my thing.
Now, this is the biggest game in your life in the NFL, in my opinion. You face the Giants. This is a division game. You guys have a chance to get into the playoffs. I mean, be honest about it. Are you sleeping as well? Do you feel how big this game is?
Yeah, obviously this is almost kind of an early playoff game.
Yeah.
And the guys feel it, and they're excited for it. We'll be on prime time. These are the games that you dream about as a kid. So, the guys are really excited about it. We feel comfortable. Obviously we've been on the roll the last, 6-7 weeks. So, we had a nice little bye this past week, get everyone rested up, and we're ready for Sunday night. It's going to be a fun one.
You were at one point a backup quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL. So I want you to take me there, and that's true. Was there ever a moment, Taylor, where you gave up on the dream and you ever drive home one day and think, I'm not going to get there?
No, there really never was a time like that. Obviously I get to the XFL and I had every intention on starting, and that wasn't the case. And from that point forward, there was 2 options I can go with. I could help Jordan Ta'amu try and be, the best quarterback he could be at that time, or I could really shut it down and be bitter. And I chose the former. I found a lot of joy in trying to help those guys get better as well. So, really when COVID happened and XFL got canceled, that's when I kind of felt like I needed to try and find, next step in life. And I actually called Coach Scott Turner asking if he had any coaching opportunities available. And he said, I need to go to school first and just don't give up on football just yet. With COVID and injuries, you just never know what's going to happen. So, sure enough, next thing you know, I'm playing in the playoffs against Tom Brady.
And playing pretty well. For the record, you were in New England for a spell with Josh and Tom, and then you were with Carson Wentz, and now you've supplanted him, which is it's kind of different. When you had to kind of supplant him as the starter, is it weird in the room? Is it an odd feeling? How do you make that work?
Yeah, again, kind of like I said earlier, there's two ways to go about it. It could have gotten really weird, or we can put our heads together and try and work this thing out. So when Rivera came out and said I'll be starting, going forward, I felt like I needed to sit down and talk to Carson, and we had a good talk. We sat down in the locker room, talked about 10 minutes, and we have a great relationship. So it's been a great room. He's been helping me out a lot, in any way he can, and he sees a lot of stuff I don't see. So we work really well together. And I told him, hey man, I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds, and you got the 300-pound guys hit me. Next thing you know, I might be hurt, and you might be back in there. So let's keep working hard and see where this team can go.
All right, you've got a gorgeous dog, Black Lab, in front of you, Mando. You're very involved with the Commanders K9 for Warriors partnership. What is that, Taylor?
So Mando's a military service dog, and a couple stats here. There's 22 veterans a day that take their life, and Mando's going to be a dog that help fix that. He's going to save some veterans' lives here soon. So it's always nice when he's at the facility. All the players get happy when we go out to practice and we see him. So he's a joy to be around, and he has a bright future ahead of him.
So you threw for if I recall, you threw for like 350 yards against Brady, didn't you? You had a big. It's pretty big.
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, at Old Dominion, did you ever throw for 350 yards?
Yeah, I actually threw for 731 game. Yeah, we were down 24-0 pretty early in the first quarter there, and my OC at the time, he said we're going to throw the ball every single play from here on out, and I thought he was joking. And 79 passes later, we were winning 64-61, and my head coach, first thing he says to me after the game is, "You had 24 incompletions. What's going on?" So we had a lot of fun down there.
Yeah, Drew Brees, by the way, has a similar story. Drew Brees, undersized, didn't get offered by Texas, goes to Purdue, and you and Drew about the same stature, and then he goes and plays a night game in Wisconsin, and he's like, "Oh, it's a beautiful Camp Randall," and everybody overlooked him, and he threw for a zillion yards. So I apologize, Drew Brees, for not knowing your Old Dominion stats. But Drew Brees, you got a little Drew Brees, right? Size, accurate, move okay. You're younger than him, obviously, but Drew moved better when he was younger. Have you ever looked at him as kind of a comp?
Yeah, kind of growing up again, like I watched Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, being a Packer fan. And then, when I started getting to college, I started looking at quarterbacks I could try and emulate. And Russell Wilson was one. And Drew Brees was the other one. So those two guys I really watched, heavily throughout college and see what they did well. See what, if there's any part of their game that I could pick up. And, I continue to try and do that. There's a lot of parts of my game I like to polish up, and those two guys are definitely guys I watch.
All right, Giants and the Commanders. Mando, you're great. Great-looking dog. Taylor, thank you for being part of that program, and good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.